Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hope Dealer Podcast with Dr. Brian Hooten in Dallas, Texas, with the awesome Manny. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. How are you?
Thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you.
You know, I got a thing this morning.
Yes.
We won an award for Best New Podcast West of the Mississippi River. Isn't that amazing?
So crazy.
So we're talking all things health. Specifically, the last few episodes have been about cancer. It's a big one. 1 in 2 people, 1 in 3 men, depending on the research you read, are coming down with this. And the numbers are only getting worse as time goes by. So we're going to talk specifically today about another thing you can do to help prevent getting this disease or dying from it or having to go into the system. But before we do that, I wanted to have a little fun with Manny here. Manny, you've been around a couple of months.
Yeah.
What one thing that you've learned has stood out as like the most wow moment?
Yeah, I think this is so good. I've learned more than one thing. I think the main thing has been like what's in our food. I think you've really have hammered that down. And even, I know you said one thing, but I think multiple things. Even like my spine, how important my spine is to my body. I feel like obviously I'm still healing from my back, but I think since I actually started coming here, I've actually been able to sleep, been able to lift up more, been able to just do a lot more. And I think the health aspect of everything you've said, I've just caught up to it. So I think in the last couple of years, my body's been almost really good since I actually started coming. And so I think it's been good. I've learned so much about my eating habits, my spine, just even random little facts that I was like, oh, I didn't know, this food contains this, or certain, chickens or certain foods or just stuff like that where I'm like, wow, or even how cancer cells grow. I never knew that. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think obviously it's more than one thing, but yeah.
I love it.
Good.
My pastor said salvation is never going to be just a Sunday thing.
Yeah.
It's an everyday journey. And your health is really similar to that physically on this planet. You got to be taking care of it daily. If we just take care of our health on, Monday morning, going to the gym or something, and then we don't do anything for the rest of the week, that is not going to work out. This is a daily journey. And the more that you watch these podcasts, and, these are going to be available forever, the more that you come into a culture like this, and I was too. I completely submerged into a culture like this years and years ago. And you start absorbing it and you start applying it to your life, and really hope becomes a real thing where your body it's not just a word or a spiritual thing. It becomes a physical manifestation of a healthy body.
So good.
Vitamin D. We're going to talk specifically about vitamin D's role in cancer, and we got this question. I had a lot of questions last week about this, and one of our dear friends, Hannah, future Dr. Hannah, sent me a couple of questions. So I thought we would entertain some questions from you about this hot topic. And if it's not a hot topic in your household, it needs to be. So just off the top of your head, what kind of vitamin D question do you have out there? So I'll know where to begin.
I guess, what is vitamin D?
What is it? Well, you can geek out on this. It's called a vitamin, a hormone. There's several different types of it. If you just really want to nerd out, just go YouTube vitamin D's role in cancer and health, and you'll get great explanations. Some of the videos are 30 minutes long, an hour long. Just for the short version, vitamin D is a vital part of about 1,000 different processes in your body, immune system being a big chunk of it. You've heard of vitamin D in bone health for sure. I was reading this morning, it even has a role in preventing type 1 diabetes, of all things. But specifically for cancer, I found a chart where if your vitamin D levels are at a certain level in your blood, then your incidence and rate of cancer are less. So what is it exactly? It's a molecule in your body, a vitamin/hormone that your body uses to fight off diseases, to keep your bones strong. So it's a fundamental thing that belongs in your body. So that's hopefully that's kind of clarifies it a little bit.
That's really good.
What's the next question?
I guess how I can take vitamin D. Like, what does it come in? Is it capsules, liquid? Like.
Okay, great. By far, the best way to get vitamin D3, and D3 is really where you want to stay, is through the sunlight. We're made to be in the sun. The myth or idea that sun causes cancer is categorically a lie. It is perpetuated by the people that want us to be sick, meaning the drug companies, right? It's not that doctors inherently want you sick, but their livelihood depends on you getting sick.
Crazy.
That's a for-profit system. The oncologists, they purchase the chemotherapy, then they resell it to the consumer. They don't want you getting healthy. Their bank account doesn't. So if you know any oncologists, I'm going to stop short of saying they're bad people. It's just that the system they're in is completely broken and upside down. Vitamin D, just from the sun, if you keep your vitamin D levels above a certain number, and I found a chart this morning. No, I don't want to misquote this. This is a meta-analysis, and you can find this if you want to just Google search vitamin D chart, and you'll find this chart that compares the level of vitamin D in your blood to the amount of cancers. And I'll skip right to the big one. Listen to this. Cancer, all combined cancers, whether it's breast cancer, colon cancer, lymphoma, brain cancer, you name it, all combined. If you keep your vitamin D levels in your blood above 37 parts per however they measure it, parts per million or whatever. If you keep your vitamin D3 levels, your hydroxy 25 levels above 37, your cancer incidence is 77% reduced.
Crazy.
77% reduction of cancer if you keep your vitamin D levels above 37 in your blood. Well, let me do a little translation for you. The number one selling cancer drug right now is something called Keytruda. And in 2022, it made over $20 billion a year.
Wow.
Over $20 billion. So if you just use that amount of money and you say 77% reduction, let's just say 70% reduction, well, that means that particular drug would lose out on $14 billion of revenue. $14 billion on one drug.
Crazy.
That's a whole lot of dollars going into a whole lot of people's pockets. This information you're not going to get from your oncologist or from your family medical doctor. They tend to quote what vitamin D levels are needed to keep your bones strong, which is like 20 or 25 or something. But if you just keep it above 37, you're reducing 77% of all cancers.
And that's just sunlight, right?
So, you said, where do you get it? Sunlight is the number one method for how your body gets this. Basically, the sun and UVB rays, the parts that you don't see, hits your skin. And some of the leading experts on this are even saying your eyes have a lot to do with this. And there's this is very important. Once it hits your skin and your eyes, there's this stuff floating around in your blood that starts to convert into D3. So you technically need this other stuff first in your bloodstream. And I'm going to tell you this, and hopefully this will jar a few brain cells out there. This thing in your blood that converts to vitamin D is cholesterol.
Interesting.
Cholesterol. Now, what have we been told for years?
Don't get
That cholesterol is what?
high.
Is bad. That's what they tell you. And they're wrong. That is a lie perpetuated again by drug companies based on some of the worst research I've ever seen back in the 60s and 70s. Cholesterol itself doesn't kill you, right? It's not just going to stick to your arteries. It's there for a purpose. It is brain food. Fat and cholesterol are two of the main sources of nutrition for your brain. Your nerve cells need cholesterol and fat to work. Every cell, just about every cell in your body has fat and cholesterol in the lining of the cell. This is vitally important. It's always there. If you lower it, based on what I'm telling you, if you lower cholesterol artificially with the drug, you now can no longer make vitamin D3 like you're supposed to. What happens to your cancer risk? It goes up. Let me say that again. If you're doing something to lower your cholesterol, you are increasing your risk of cancer. Period. Not an opinion. Because, like I just showed you, and this is medical journals, by the way. This isn't some crazy people. You can, if you search this chart, you can find all the references down there. There's the Lancet. You got MDs in there, PhDs, all these people studying this stuff. If you lower your cholesterol, you cannot make vitamin D3 like you're supposed to, because that's what the sun, when the UVB rays hit your skin, this cholesterol substance starts to convert into what we call vitamin D3. And there's a couple other conversions. It goes through the liver and the kidneys. But just that's how we make it from the sun.